Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today we're going to be taking a look at the sadly concluded My Hero Academia Vigilantes and what I thought of the ending, and I'm going to have an opinion that's not probably going to rub a few people wrong, but hey, we each have our own likes and dislikes, and we'll get to that. So, My Hero Academia Vigilantes. I really liked this one from the start, primarily because I have a major soft spot for Tinya's big brother, Tensei Ida. I love that character. I like the way he works with the people around him, his crew, and the fact that after what happened in the main line, we got to see so much more of him in Vigilantes made me very, very happy, especially when it became obvious that he was going to be a major reoccurring character. And overall, I really like the main character. I like the old man. I like Pop Step. I really enjoyed their dynamic. This was, in my opinion, almost a perfect manga. And if I step out of my own personal tastes and just look at it objectively as a shorter running manga, as a manga that was deliberately concluded, I think that it was pretty nearly perfectly concluded. And there's just one thing that prevented me from actually enjoying the conclusion. And I did not like chapter 126. Could not enjoy it as much as it deserved to be enjoyed. I couldn't enjoy the subtle political commentary, which was actually commentary on human nature. I could not enjoy the, but why? Why? Okay, so we're going to get into the spoilers. So if you have not read chapter 126, the final chapter of My Hero Academia Vigilantes, you can click away. In order to give you time to click away, I'll tell you to go check out the links below the video to get yourself a copy of my book, Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, a collection of short stories on the absurdity of human nature. Now, why did I really, really not like this final chapter? It was the instigating incident for the final chapter. So if you read the final chapter, we're going into spoilers now, there is a plane takes off from a New York airport. Birds take out the engines. It hits the birds get sucked into the engines get destroyed. The airplane has to crash land on the Hudson River, but they can't make it. So our erstwhile hero, now known as the Skycrawler, has to come in and rescue them. I'm sorry, I could not enjoy that storyline. Why? 2009, January. I'm freshly graduated. I'm out working in the world, doing my thing. When suddenly, on every newspaper, it's the same headline, the same picture. A 2-engine jumbo jet slowly sinking into the Hudson River. So, stop me if you've heard this one before. It was January 15th, 2009. A U.S. Airways A320 aircraft takes off from LaGuardia Airport, flight 1549. It's being captained by First Officer Jeffrey Skiles and affectionately known as solely Captain Chelsea Sullenberger. This aircraft takes off headed for North Carolina. They're going to land in Charlotte. They're full of commuters. People are on their way to go on golfing trips, but mothers with young babies. This is a perfectly normal ride in one of the safest airways in the world. They take off. Immediately, they fly through a flock of birds. This is an old problem. Birds have been getting sucked into the engines and taking out planes for as long as we've had planes. Airports have dozens of different methods to prevent this from happening. None of them fully work, and so this is a problem that has followed us literally into the space age. And the unthinkable happens, something no pilot has ever trained for in their life. Both of the engines fail. So the captain and the first officer, they have over 150 people on board that aircraft. They have no engines. They have a giant rock in the sky, basically. And first, they request permission to go back to LaGuardia. That they realize they're not going to make it. So they're going to go on to the next airport across the river. They're going to just glide it in for a landing. And they realize they can't make it again. The flight attendants are running around in the back, calmly getting everybody ready for the crash landing. And they decide to land on the Hudson River. and they do something that they haven't trained for, that no one's ever done before, and they succeeded. Captain Sully successfully landed a jet on the Hudson River. And immediately, of course, they're in communication with all the police force. The police get a chopper into the air. 3 ferries automatically divert their courses and swoop down to pick up the passengers. All of the passengers and crew survived. No one died. There were a few minor injuries, some hypothermia, but we all have that image in our head of the plane slowly sinking into the water while the passengers stand on the wings and on the emergency flotation devices. The firefighters, the police officers, everybody worked in perfect tandem. This exact instance had never been predicted, but those 2 men, Captain Sully and his first officer, had been training pretty much their entire lives for this. Captain Sully was in the Air Force. He was part of he trained under the Civil Air Patrol. What those 2 men did was fantastically heroic and amazingly intuitive. They were the heroes of that day. And I really, really, really don't like that was the instance they chose to insert a superhero. There was no superhero needed that day. Those 2 men did the unimaginable. They didn't have superpowers. All they had was their training, their cool-headedness, and just a few short seconds to respond. And they did it. They didn't need a superhero to come sweeping in out of the sky and rescue them. And I know this was not the mangaka's intention. I know that this was meant as much as an homage and an honor to Sully and the rest of the crew as it was anything else. But I just don't like it. It might be my personal taste, but for me, it really, really ruined the final chapter of an otherwise exemplary manga. And I know, and the thing is, as an artist, I know exactly why the mangaka chose that incident. It was a massive international incident because in the news they called it the miracle on the Hudson. Those planes are not meant to fly without engines. They're meant to have at least 1 engine at all times. They're meant to be able to fly with 1 engine. The thought of losing all your engines at once, like I said, it was unthinkable. Nobody ever predicted that would happen. And the fact that Sully was able to land that plane on a river with no lives lost was a miracle. And I don't know, it just feels like by throwing a superhero into the equation, especially one as humorous and comical as Skycrawler at this point, I just don't think that was a good thing to do. And I know but artistically it was the perfect chapter to wrap up. And I understand that probably especially the younger people who weren't around in 2009 won't have the same mental attachment that I do to that incident. It was the news story for a year afterwards. And, well, yeah, okay, so that's my thoughts. Otherwise, I really, really enjoyed it, except for that one fly in the ointment. Like I said, I really enjoy My Hero Academia, but I liked My Hero Academia Vigilantes more. So, those are my thoughts on the matter. I really think that bringing the Miracle on the Hudson into this was not the best way to end the story, or having Skycrawler take the place of what was training, coolness of mind, on Captain Sully's and the first officer Skiles' parts. I don't like it. Anyway, what do you think, my wonderful viewers? Do you think I'm being too sensitive because I'm too emotionally attached to the incident? Hit that like and subscribe button. Leave your comments on what you thought of the final wrap-up chapter for My Hero Academia Vigilantes. And peace out, my wonderful viewers. Humans are weird. We took a vote, and humans are weird. I have the data. 2 books in a series of human absurdity. Go check out these short story collections. What will our little green friends think of us when we finally do make it to space? Find out the answer in 2 books of human absurdity. Humans are weird, we took a vote, and humans are weird, I have the data. available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and Google Play.